everyone. Welcome.
Morning or afternoon.
Afternoon. It's true. We're just going to wait a few more seconds for folks to hop in from their lunch or their last thing. We're putting kids down, and then we'll get started. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get going, and we'll welcome folks as they join. Um, Thank you for making time for the December edition of the Great Start to Quality Quality Connection. Um, Just a reminder as we move through this opportunity today to go ahead and keep yourself muted, but certainly unmute if you would like to share, raise your hand, or throw information in the chat. We would love to hear from you. And then, as always, excuse me, we offer Q&A at the end of our time together. This is our standing agenda for those of you who have attended in the past. And so we'll do a little welcome. We'll do some introductions, and then we typically will have a presentation of sorts, and then share some updates and tips. And then, like I mentioned, open it for Q&A. So I would offer and welcome folks to turn their cameras on if they can, because it's much more engaging for all of us when we do. And if not, that is just fine too. So I see some things in the chat, and I hope that they're just welcomes. Indeed, they are. Wonderful. So I'm Christy Opsimer. I am the Director of Systems for Great Start to Quality at the Early Childhood Investment Corporation. The Early Childhood Investment Corporation implements Great Start to Quality in the assessment, validation, and the technological pieces. And so we love to bring you information and updates, and you'll see lots of Resource Center colleagues on this call to help answer questions and engage in the conversation. So welcome to you all. I just want to talk a little bit about our objectives during these meetings. Um, we know that many of those who are attending are at different places, maybe in their careers, different programs, different organizations. And so we're really here to share and give you all this awareness of Great Start to Quality and its purpose and how we can support you. You can understand the resources that are available to you, have clear pictures of the quality improvement process, know who the people are that you can engage with and that can support you, and know where to go with questions. So with that, we also like to just share the graphic of the quality improvement process. That is true for Great Start to Quality. And so um, just to level set, if a program is newly licensed, they come into the system as maintaining health and safety, sort of at that foundational level there. And then once they start engaging in the process, they get into reflecting on quality, and that's where they see the quality indicators. And we'll have some conversation about those today. Enhancing quality is where programs can create goals and work on improvements in their program. The validation process happens after enhancing quality validated. So that's when our team takes a look at your evidence of high quality practices to see if you're meeting the quality indicators. And then demonstrating quality happens when programs meet threshold scores for the on-site observation. So with that in mind, we're going to move into a quality indicator spotlight. This was something that many folks requested from this time together, and sort of really digging into specific indicators and understanding what do they mean, what kind of evidence might I be able to provide. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nicole Kretschmer and have her introduce herself and take it away. Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Christy. Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Kretschmer. I'm one of the validators on the Great Start to Quality team at the Early Childhood Investment Corporation. And I am always excited to talk about validation. So I'm going to try to be as clear and concise as I can and not give you too much information. So the first thing we want to do is kind of just give a little bit of background information before we get into a specific indicator to highlight. So a couple things we want to point out. In the self-reflection, there's 4 different options that programs can select to determine if they're meeting an indicator or not. So those 4 selections are on the slide there. The first one, currently meeting, is when a program wants to select it when they're sure they have all the evidence and they're meeting all of the different components of the indicator. If a program is reviewing the indicator and sees that they're not meeting those things, they then have kind of 3 options. So they can choose not meeting at this time. If it's something that they're not doing and they're not really ready to think about working on or implementing in the near future. The second option would be to select not meeting at this time, create a goal in the quality improvement plan. And so that would be when the program would indicate, hey, I'm not doing this, or maybe I'm partially doing this. So I want to work on it some more. I want to create a goal. I want to collaborate with my coach to see if I can fully implement this. And then the final one is not aligned to program philosophy. This one is an option that programs will select very often, but is something you would want to select if it really doesn't meet your program. So an easy example is there's an indicator. It's CIL6 about the curriculum. And so your program may be maybe a faith-based program, or it may have a proprietary curriculum. And so the curriculum that's on our list for the indicator might not suit your program. So you may want to choose for that, not aligned to program philosophy. So it's not saying that you don't value a curriculum, just the specific ones on our list don't align. So those are the different options. And then there are primarily 2 different types of indicators. There's a handful of indicators that are outliers looking for specific things, but the 2 primary kind of groups of indicators are description indicators and shows indicators. So a description indicator is really asking for a description. So when we say description, we want to see a written policy, procedure, statement, something that explains what your program is doing. And then we want to see evidence of how that description is shared. So it's really important not just to have a policy, but to make sure people are aware of it so that it can be fully implemented. So we want to see that description and then how it's shared with both families and staff. Now, that's a little different from a shows indicator. A shows indicator is not only looking for written information. We really want to see how a program is actually implementing something. So we want the program to show us what they're doing. So we're looking for 2 different types of evidence for this one. The first piece would be some sort of written information that explains what you're doing. It could certainly be a policy or procedure. It could be something less formal, more of a statement that just kind of explains or describes what's being done. And then the second piece of evidence really shows how it's being implemented. So for example, if it was an indicator about having a screening tool, you would have some sort of policy procedure uploaded to show or explain what you're doing. And then you could upload a completed form to actually show that it was done or that it was carried out. So those are kind of the 2 primary buckets. The specific indicator that we're spotlighting today is IP2. This indicator is one of those description indicators. So we're looking for that written information that's shared with families and staff. And this specific indicator, IP2, asks for the description to be about how the program addresses and observes the children's social, emotional health, and well-being for both children and school agers every day. So we're looking for that kind of daily process that the program is using. So what we really want to see is examples of that, those 2 pieces that I talked about for a description indicator. So the first piece would be something that explains what the program is doing. So it could be a description on how social emotional health is observed and how they communicate that with families in their program. Their description could include how they address it through their daily routines and activities, if they have resources available, how they make referrals, whatever your program specifically does to address social and emotional health, those are the things that should be included in that description. So every program's description is going to be just a little bit different. Um, and then we also have a guidance document that supports and helps clarify what information is uploaded. So we're working on adding that, or we're working on updating it right now. You may have seen an updated version if your resource center coach or specialist kind of shared the pilot. We're working on an updated one that really spells out that clear information. So, for example, for a description indicator, it clarifies that you need a description, and then you also need evidence of how it's shared with the families and the staff. So I just know that the validation manager, Melissa, is on. If there's anything I missed, Melissa, feel free to jump in. All right. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I can turn it back over to you, Christy.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions about that particular indicator, what Nicole described, or any part of the validation process in general while we're here?
Can they give us an example of what they're looking for? Y'all just saying it, but y'all not giving us an example.
So say more, Sonia. I'm guessing you want like a picture of something?
Yeah, an example of saying that we need to show and tell with the parent what we doing. Like if we doing social emotional. Are you saying we supposed to write it down like the definition of social and emotional, or have it in place the activity that you're doing in social emotion, but having it written out?
Christy, can you go back to the last slide for us? Yeah, so Sonia, for this indicator itself, we're going to look for that written description or maybe a written process for how you are observing the social, emotional, and mental health of the children on a daily basis. And then we're going to ask for how you share that with families. So if it's part of your handbook, if you upload that full handbook for this indicator, we have that shared piece. But a lot of times we know maybe the handbook is just challenging to upload to every indicator. So you might upload just that policy from it and then write us a comment in the notes section where you upload that evidence of, I share this with families in our family handbook. Or maybe you send that out through an email. So just writing down how you're sharing that with families so that we know that everyone is getting the policy.
Hi, I'm DeAndrea. Just for me, I think with the process, the only downside is we don't really have a gauge or a goal or a mark, right? We know we upload these things, but there's no like scale to say, hey, we're looking for you to, like in the old system, it would say, we want you to get so many points in order to achieve this. There's no real goal. You're just kind of blindly doing a process, hoping that you're doing it well enough to reach the next level.
Yeah, so you're right. In the old model, there were points associated with every indicator, and you had to earn so many points to move on to the on-site observation. In the reimagined model, you just need to meet the intent of one indicator to move forward with your on-site observation. So we really kind of tried to remove the feeling of being penalized if you didn't currently meet enough indicators to continue moving on in the process.
So then even with moving on and on-site, it's like, okay, at on-site, how do you know, that you got enough to move to demonstrating quality based on your on-site?
Yeah, great question. And I'm happy to answer that, Tori. So for the on-site observation, there are threshold scores, and we can pull that link from our website. But that is sort of the one place in the system where we do have sort of a cut, right? In that if you don't meet the threshold scores for every observation that happens in your program, then you would stay at enhancing quality validated. So we do have a little bit of guardrails in that space, but what was happening in the old process is folks were missing 1 point and not able to move forward, and that didn't feel great. And so we really want folks to be able to continue to move and then use that feedback, even if they didn't meet the threshold scores, to continue to create goals and improve. Yeah, great feedback.
And I would add specifically for validation for uploading and not being sure what to upload, if what you're uploading is meeting the intent of an indicator and feeling like you're kind of going in blind, that's part of the revisions to our guidance document. So we're really, it will roll out in the new year with more clarification. So it's very, has clear like check boxes. So you can say, did I upload the description? Did I add that information in the comment box? And being very specific and clear so that you know that you are meeting the target of that indicator. We've also added in some reflective questions. So if you're not sure what should go in a description, you can ask yourself some of those questions about what you're doing in your program, and then that can help you kind of determine what things you should write into that plan. So as you answer those questions, that helps you kind of develop or write that plan. So we're hoping that new guidance document and those revisions are going to make it feel more clear and not like you're going in blind.
I think that'll help because I made a manual checklist similar to that for mine.
Great feedback. Any other questions, thoughts? A question in the chat, Nicole, when will the new guidance document be available?
So we're still working on those revisions. So our amazing partners at the Resource Center have been reviewing it and piloting it. So some of providers may have seen it if their coach or specialist shared it with them and kind of used it as a guide. So we're actually meeting with them later this month and still working on more revisions. So in the new year, once we've compiled all of that, made any additional edits, then it will be shared out.
Another question in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get right to you. I'm going to read the chat real quick. If we are a nonprofit, is it appropriate to mark not aligned with philosophy for the business plan?
It is appropriate to mark that for any indicators that you feel like that's true for your program. So there are some programs who feel like having a sustainability plan for that indicator doesn't really meet the needs of their program or something they're focusing on. So you certainly could choose to do that. It's always a great opportunity if you're thinking about selecting that or not sure to have a conversation with your coach and kind of determine, is this maybe something I could implement, or maybe is there a different way that I could go about doing it that would better fit the needs of your program? But it's an option for any program for any indicator.
Thank you, Nicole. And I would just interject that even though you're a nonprofit, you're still a business. And so it would support the work that you're doing to create a business plan. And Deborah, I think you're asking about the guidance document again, and my guess is that maybe you're coming up on participating and you want the latest and greatest while you're doing it. And I know that the team is working as hard as they can to get it out as quickly as they can, but they want to do it right. So I think June would be very late, right? So if we said by June, right, that would be very late. So if you don't get it by then, there's an issue, but the sooner the better because we know it will be more supportive for programs. So Marcy, go right ahead.
Hi. I have asked this before, but I don't know if it was within this group. And I have discussed it with my consultant, and it kind of came down to like, don't stress about it so much kind of thing. But regarding professional development, so trainings, so our PD plan is calendar year based, and the 12 months starts when you submit your SAS. So do you have any tips or tricks on how to best navigate having staff get the required topics done within that time frame, working with a calendar year PD plan? We just haven't found a great way to like make sure that we're getting that all. And if one person misses one category, then we lose all of that. So any tips on that?
So I'm happy to answer, and then if folks want to jump in from ECIC, that's just fine. So your resource center folks are sort of in the right space when saying like, don't stress about it, right? So the quality indicator guidance document and those indicators within are really a compilation of the high quality practices that we would like to see in programs at Michigan based on all kinds of research and those kinds of things. What we don't want you to do is get hung up on the one person that leaves and now we have a new hire. Or that's really, we want to move you away from that space of gotta do it, or it's a gotcha, right? And making it a goal. So if you don't have it for everyone, put it in your quality improvement plan. um, there's a lot of training that's required for you and your staff outside of Great Start to Quality. And so we want to be mindful of that too. The best place to go to understand what kinds of trainings are offered, as you well know, I'm sure, is my registry, as well as your resource center staff. And so if you are really interested in learning about something related to anti-bias approach, and you don't see anything in your area or in my registry, it's something great to poke the resource center staff about to say, hey, I really want this for our team. How do I get connected? So it's not to brush the question aside, but it's really to say it's okay. And that's why we built the system that the way that we did, so it doesn't feel punitive and you don't get stuck. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would add in addition to what Christy said, for programs that are struggling with that or have a lot of turnover and are feeling overwhelmed, uh, a good option is just to pick a couple of them that you really want to focus on this year. Like, hey, we have a lot of families and children who are experiencing trauma, and we have a lot of children with challenging behaviors right now. And so we really want to pick those indicators that are related to that, and those are the ones we want to focus on every staff meeting, rather than trying to pick all nine of the PD indicators and trying to meet them all and being worried about who started when. Just pick a couple that are really important for your program at this time. And then the next time you come through the process, pick a couple that are really important at that time or that you want to be able to focus on. So it doesn't have to be, it's not an all or nothing, just do whatever you can and what works best for the program.
Thank you. That's great advice. Because I think we're focusing so hard on getting every single topic that teachers aren't able to take what they're actually interested in or what applies to their classroom. So thank you.
And where do we get the indicators from?
Yeah, great
A
question.
list of them.
Yeah, someone on the team will pop that in the chat. So it is on our website, so that you can take a look at those indicators. And there are indicators specific to your program. And so there are some that are specific to infants and toddlers or school-age children. And if you don't serve those ages, then you wouldn't get those indicators. So just be mindful of that as you're looking through that document. Great question. What else are you thinking about? Melissa just dropped that link in the chat for you so you can take a look. And again, these are the current indicators, not the ones that are going to be revised. We will share that soon.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, I do have a quick question regarding business sustainability plans. I noticed that this is, I think, under one of the indicators. And I'm looking at creating this for our center, but I was just wondering where I could look to find maybe a good exemplar, something to look at to give me some guidance in this area.
Sure. So we would be happy to point you to a couple of different resources that we have and some partners that have helped create business sustainability plans for other folks, particularly First Children's Finance. They actually have free training for programs and opportunities to create these plans. So, oh, it looks like Melissa dropped that in the chat as well for you. So if there's something in particular that you're looking for, let us know. But this is a really great place to start, and certainly reaching out to your resource center for anything that's specific to your local region.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. Great question. All right, I'm going to transition us into another topic, but if more questions come about, please throw them in the chat and know that we'll have a little bit more time for overall question and answer at the end. So happy to have you share then. So I'm just going to share real quick So the last couple of times that we've been together, and I know not everyone attends every session, um, we've talked about the um, GSQ program profile and really wanting to give you all more information and how to best market your program and the things that are available to you to help families become aware of the program offerings, of your hours, your openings, your enrollment, those kinds of things. And so I'm going to actually stop sharing here, but I want to show you this is what a program profile looks for to families. And this takes place as soon as your program is licensed. You have a profile in the system. And so I'm going to demo that for you a little bit and show you a new feature that just came online on Monday. Right. So I just want to be able to see your faces. So thank you to Christy Showens, who has allowed me to share her profile with you as we move through this. So this is what it looks like as a program when you log in. Now, you're going to see some other different things because I'm an administrator, but I'm just going to show you what's available to you. And if you have questions, please just ask. So in your profile, when you log in, there is a place for you to view your profile. So that picture that I just showed you on this screen, you're able to see it right here. So anything that you change, you can sort of preview in this space. The things in the update data tab, anything that's grayed out comes from licensing, and then you have the ability to make some changes. And I'm not going to necessarily go through all of the options that you have to sort of indicate to families because I want to show you this one feature, but if there's something you want me to walk through when I'm finished with it, I'm happy to do that. So the thing I want to share with you is this new tab that you'll find in your profile, and it's called Program Offerings. And we'll be sharing out guidance through our newsletter and on our website about how to walk through this with some screenshots. So you don't have to remember all the steps here, but I just want to show you this feature. So you select the tab, and Christy hasn't created any offerings, which is why I sort of wanted to start with this profile because it's so new. But you can add an offering. And the offering is really whatever you want it to be. And so what is true about the profile is it's just about the entire program. And so if you offer a GSRP program that isn't necessarily the same hours, or I'm not going to add a picture this time. I have 6 openings here. But it's not necessarily open the same hours. It's something maybe separate from your daily program, and you just want to highlight it for families so that they know. You can do that here. So I'm just going to play around here and say that this is a GSRP program. Serves, oops, not 54-year-olds. That would be fun though, wouldn't it? I'm just going to leave that here for a second. And you have 700 characters, so you can go wild and make sure that you have all of the information that you need. For any one of these program offerings, I can include whichever age that it's applicable to. So this is a pre-K program only, so I'm not going to choose any other ages. I can indicate specifically the rate type. So this program is free, right? But if I wanted to include a program that has an hourly rate, I can do that too, right? And I can do that for any one of the age groups. Was there a question? Okay, thanks. So I'm going to make this free so we don't confuse anyone. And then you can also indicate the schedule. So some programs offer Monday through Friday. Some programs offer Monday through Thursday. And parents need to know that as they're approaching the system, right? And really looking for care for their child. So I'm just going to indicate that this program is only open these days. And we open at 9 and we close at Let's see. Sorry. It's the same for every day. So I'm going to use this little copy feature to just copy it all the way down. I don't have to type it in each time. So just trying to make it as quick for y'all as possible. And then I can save it. And it tells me that it's saved, which is great. And then I'll see it. And then I can add more, right? And these sort of end up looking like little cards. And I'll just add another one so you can see. And if you have questions as I'm doing this, please let me know. So you might have like a Mommy and Me program. And there's 10 openings, and it's for moms and toddlers. And so this is for toddlers, and it's hourly, and it's $10 an hour. And we do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays from, let's say 10 to 11. Right. And the other thing I would say about this, it's easier to do this when you're not talking also. If you have feedback or you run into something that you're like, ooh, I would love it if it did X, let us know. We're happy to make adjustments so that it makes sense. So if you also, if you have an image that really pops, right, that would live here. So now I have these two cards, and it will end up going like 3 programs across, so that you'll be able to see it. But families can then see this inside of your public profile on a button that's available to them. So just want to share that with you. Again, we'll send out directions so that you can kind of see how to walk through that. But it's just a really great way for you to continue to promote the different parts and aspects of your program. What questions might you have? Is it possible to provide our openings availability first before parents go through our profile? So I'm going to stop sharing for just a second to get to another space. So what is true is that families can see that information if they do get to your profile, but you're right, they have to sort of click inside of it. And so we're working on probably another button or some kind of call out that says this program has openings so that it's very clear when families approach that there's room for their kid, right? And that's really what we want, is to make that that search piece smooth for them. And I just want to show you what this looks like when you search. So give me just a second to pull that up. And again, ask me questions if you have them. Families call without reading our profile. They sure do. Because, right, they're desperate for care. And so as much information as we can give them sort of in that front view when they're searching, the better off everybody will be. So it's given me just a little bit here. And what I'm doing, I'm just searching for a program on the public site, and then I will share my screen so you can all see. Because there is one other thing that I do want to show you as well. Liz, you just shout it out. What are you wondering?
I am wondering if entering those details in that new section affects the other section that has openings. Like, how does that coincide?
Yeah, it does not yet.
Okay.
So, and we're struggling with how that might work, because like for that Mommy and Me program, that's not really about their toddler program, right? It's so it'll be great for programs to use it in a way that makes sense to them and let us know where the struggles are so we can sort of problem solve that. But that's a great question. So to the question about, how are they going to know? We're hoping to create some kind of call out here so that families can see, yes, Betty has openings. This is great. I want to learn more before they click inside of that program details. So we are working on that. It's a great noticing. The program details, though, is where you would find the program offering. So once that is a thing, and I don't know what city Christy lives in, or I try and find hers, but she will have a button right here that says program offerings, and it would blow out those cards so that you could see the GSRP and the Mommy and Me pieces, separate from sort of what Liz was asking about, which is this piece here. So take a look at it, play around with it, let us know what you think, and where we can make some improvements. Certainly we built it because we heard we needed it for providers, so would love to hear your how you use it, and your feedback would be really helpful. While we are here, the other thing I wanted to show you all is the program quality guide. So for those of you who have been through the process and have gone through validation, you know that you will receive the program quality guide on the program profile. And this is so families can see how you answered in the self-reflection and then how it was validated. And so what we heard from programs was, I would like for parents to see more than just what I've met. I want them to see what I'm working on. And so we updated this program quality guide, and I'll kind of scooch you out here a little bit if I can, to show all of the responses for every program. And this really provides much more transparency to families. And then there's a little legend down here so they can see, the pink ones they're not currently meeting. The purple ones are the ones that they're working on, right? So we didn't show any of that before. We only showed the green. And then that not aligned to our program philosophy, parents would be able to see that too. So then they can sort of understand, oh, maybe I want to ask more about that program philosophy and why that doesn't make sense for them. For any of the indicators that don't align necessarily to the program, as far as, remember I said, if you don't serve infants or you don't serve school agers, you won't get the indicator. That's true for this particular one. This is really about staff evaluations. Because this is a family child care, they don't get this indicator. That's why it says NA. So you'll see that too. Any questions about this piece? I am going to stop sharing. And in our last 20 minutes or so, what other questions might you have about Great Starts Quality related to any part of the process or anything we can help you with? I do want to give folks plenty of time, and you can certainly add to the chat if you'd like, or simply come off mute and ask your questions. And we all know that it's a very busy time of year, and folks aren't quite as healthy as they'd like to be. And so I do not want to keep you any longer than is needed, but certainly want to be able to give you what you need. So I'm going to close the window. Any final questions? Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. This meeting is recorded, so we will certainly share that out for all of you and to those who weren't able to attend today. And please take a look at those links. Reach out to any one of us at Great Search Quality at ecicforkids.org if you have questions. I do want to pop the next opportunity in the chat before you do go. Just going to send this here. So this is our time in February. If you are interested, we are meeting on February 12th. This is an evening session. So we did get feedback that it's helpful for folks to have opportunities in the evening. This webinar will be from 6 to 7 on that Wednesday evening. So would love for you to join us, share with your friends and colleagues, and go ahead and register. And we will see you in February. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Take care.